So right off the top here, I have to get into this news story. Vocalist Bruno Mars is being heavily targeted by a YouTube show called The Grapevine in an episode that they did discussing whether or not they thought that Bruno Mars was a cultural appropriator, aka a culture vulture, someone from a different race demographic coming in and taking elements of different cultures and taking them and making them mainstream. That's the theory behind this term. And I gotta say, by watching this episode, it's a 30-minute thing in total. I do have a clip here. It seems like some of the folks in this panel are incredibly biased and misinformed. So let's get into this first clip. Let's hear this.
Of course, I think Bruno Mars is a cultural appropriator, but I don't think that means that he doesn't make great music. I think he creates great art, but a lot of cultural appropriators do. The thing about Bruno Mars is that his ambiguity, I use that good
His
word.
racial.
Okay. His racial ambiguity helps him transcend genres and cultures. He's literally the guy invited to everybody's cookout because you don't know if he's black, you don't know if he's Latino, you don't know if he has white in him. He succeeds on so many different levels and with so many different genres that it works for him.
So do you think if he was like black, like your complexion, he would have the success?
Absolutely not. Hell no.
No.
Hell no. You see where Aaron Hall is?
Who?
Exactly. Aaron Hall, he needs to...
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there. I'm absolutely disgusted by the comments that I just heard. So I want to go by point to address why. So first off, the gentleman says that Bruno Mars is racial ambiguity, and he was so proud of himself for knowing that big word. Congratulations, pal. Was something that would make him the guy that everybody wanted at the cookout, the guy that they didn't know what race he was, so everybody was just okay with him and they wanted him around. As a mixed race gentleman who's half black and half white, I say, first of all, how dare you? How dare you speak on the issues that someone of mixed race faces and then turn around in the same sentence and tell people that they have no clue what someone who's full black faces. Second of all, even if Bruno Mars was someone who not everybody knew his race, so they all liked him and he did very, very well in many departments, oh my goodness, the humanity. I mean, what's so bad about that? What's so bad about a guy who nobody really knows or cares what his race is being wildly successful? You know, I went to Barbados on vacation because that's what the other half of me is Bayesian. Myself and my mixed race family was almost, not literally, but almost ran out of restaurants. We were almost stared out of restaurants. I've experienced incredible prejudice and what I would call racism towards myself for being mixed race. So again, absolutely disgusting, the comments that I just heard. So the next part, he was asked if Bruno Mars would have become this successful if he were full black, and himself and many others in the room erupted and said absolutely not. He wouldn't have had any success if he was full black, and he's just appropriating because people want their black culture from non-black bodies. That was one of the main foundations and points in this video, is that people they do want the black culture, but they don't want it from black folks. So I decided to pull up the Billboard Top 100 list, and we're going to take a little look at the top 10 people on the list for the week of March 17th, 2018. So number 10 on the list is Stir Fry by Migos, featuring 3 black gentlemen. Okay, so that's number 10 on the list. Number 9 is Pray For Me by The Weeknd and Kendrick Lamar. Now, The Weeknd, Canadian gentleman, may not look African, but he is, and Kendrick Lamar, of course, a black man. We'll go up to number 7, Look Alive, Block Boy, and of course, Drake. Now, we go up to number 4, Post Malone featuring Ty Dolla $ign, black gentleman, wildly successful artist. And of course, we go up to number 1 on the Billboard Top 100 list, and it's Drake with God's Plan. Of course, half black and half white, just like myself. And as he said, black excellence, but I guess when it comes to me, it ain't the same. Which is a very good point, because here we have people screaming and crying about the fact that there's no black people being represented and that their culture is being taken and people don't want to see black people in mainstream culture. Yet we have a gentleman who's half black and number 1 on the Billboard list, and nearly 7 out of 10 of the top artists on the list are African American. So to say, and Bruno Mars, by the way, number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. Congratulations, by the way, with Finesse, with Cardi B. So let's put it this way, okay? Let's say that song number 2 on the Billboard list, by Ed Sheeran, called Perfect. Let's say that song was written and composed exactly as it is now, but they ended up handing it off to Sampha, the UK singer, a really talented guy, to sing it. I 100% believe that the song Perfect by Sampha, rather than Ed Sheeran, would have been number 2 on the Billboard list as I was looking at this. But since Ed Sheeran sang it and delivered it, Ed Sheeran's number 2 on the list. So the nerve to suggest that Bruno Mars wouldn't still be at number 3 if he was full black, when again we have almost 7 out of 10 people that's right, 10, who are black who are on this list. Did I mention Young Thug and Camila Cabello? I mean, this is ridiculous. So I'd just like to ask these folks over at this show, and maybe you can answer me these questions if your points are correct. Why is it that when I go to hip-hop concerts, we have stadiums full of white people paying to see black folks on stage, and they're dominating the charts? So what does that tell you? Does that tell you they aren't being represented? Or does that tell you that you're full of shit? Because that tells me that you're full of shit. And when you're full of shit, that instantly discredits everything else you have to say from here on. So you might want to watch what you say, might want to do a little research. Just my 2 cents on it.